Hello, this is Dave talking here on GB Gaming, where video games come first. And this is me trying yet another experiment with my content and particularly my channel. And this is something I'm just going to experiment on. I'm going to try a podcast. I don't think I'm going to get very far with it because God knows all the talking I do gets put into my videos, and like when I'm talking about certain things, I'll either make a rant video about it. I used to do vlogs. I was going to do another episode called GB Talks where I just talk about random things. But with a podcast, I can at least lump everything into one, and I don't have to worry about separating everything and making different episodes based on it. I can put everything in one chunk, and I can also create a topic of a certain episode to talk about, and like that should stretch it out for a bit, and hopefully I don't know where I'm going to go with it. I mean, I don't even know if this is going to stick. If it doesn't, then I'll stop. If it does, if I can find other things to talk about, then I'll keep doing that. Truth be told, I don't really look too much into the gaming industry anymore. Sometimes I do, and when I do, I'm always interested in the things that people talk about, and I'm always interested in the news that comes in when I'm interested. Like when I'm interested, I'm very interested, and all I do is I discuss it with my fiance, and I know she's getting sick of me talking about this shit. So I say, if I want to talk about it, why don't I just do it right here in front of my computer on the microphone, which I've now recently acquired. So yeah, there's a few things I want to talk about on this episode. First of all, I'm going to talk about the latest game releases. I'm going to talk about the latest gaming issues. I'm going to talk about the latest gaming news. I'm going to talk about any latest episodes of my channel that I upload, like if it's a Just Play episode or a GB Reviews episode. In this particular case, I'm going to talk about my latest GB Reviews episode, and maybe the last GB review episode I did before that, but because I've already went into great detail as to that Forbidden Siren 2 episode, it's probably not going to be much of a conversation piece. In fact, my latest GB Reviews episode probably isn't going to be that much of a conversation piece because I've already talked about it ad nauseum, but I'll see if I can fit it in. And then I'm also going to have a topic of my show. In this particular case, it'll be why I'm not interested in being paid on YouTube, and I'll expand on that, and I'll try and explain to the best of my ability. So let's get into it, starting with the latest gaming releases. Oh yeah, I'm also going to talk about the latest games I've been playing, and if I plan on doing a review on them as well. So I'll type that in right now because I forgot to type it in. What I've been playing lately. Okay. So, starting with the latest gaming releases. There was a couple of games that were released last week between June the 1st and June the 5th. The few games I've heard of, few games I've not. In fact, a lot of games I haven't heard of. There was Liberated came out on the Nintendo Switch. Little Town Hero came out on PS4. A PC game called Valorant came out. Awesome P2, which came out on multiple consoles. Pro Cycling Manager, I didn't even know there was such a game, but it's kind of funny how that came out at the same time as Tour de France 2020, so that's two cycling games, one from each genre. There was two particular games that came out that I was very interested in. One interested in playing and another interested in seeing. I'll start with the game I was interested in seeing, and that was The Outer Worlds on Switch. That was I'm quite amazed that they were able to actually cram that into a Switch system. Now, don't get me wrong, when you look at it, it's not that surprising that they were able to put it on the Switch because there was a lot of graphical sacrifices to be made with that one. So if you look at the Switch port as opposed to the PC slash Xbox slash PS4 port, you'll clearly see that the Switch port is visually, it looks a bit like you would put the PC version's graphics settings all the way down to low or low to medium, whereas the PS4, Xbox One, PC versions Obviously, they look a lot better with the PC version looking the best, if I'm not mistaken. Because I don't know how the porting was on the PC version. I didn't play it. I only played the PS4 version, which I heard was the least optimized for like 4K and all that stuff. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, Outer Worlds on Switch was quite impressive personally to me, and that was something I didn't expect. I think I knew it was coming to Switch. I just didn't know how they were going to do it. But I'm actually quite happy that they managed to do it, and it looks crazy to have that game on a portable system. And that's another thing as well. If you're going to be playing that game on a TV, I don't see the point in that. Especially if you've already got any other of the two systems, be it a PS4 or an Xbox One. Most of the people I know who have a Switch also have a main console to play on the TV, the Switch being more of a handheld device than a TV device. Now, it is true that the majority of people who play the Switch do play it on a TV, but it doesn't stop the fact that there are still plenty of people who play it in handheld mode, myself included. I've been playing it in handheld mode for the past few weeks now when I'm playing Animal Crossing. So if you're playing it in handheld mode, you kind of won't really notice the reduced quality of the graphics and visuals because it's a smaller screen. Your focus is going to be more on the gameplay than that, and especially if you're playing it on Switch, there's no way in a million years you're focusing on the visuals, because the Switch's visual capability, while most games do look really good on the Switch, some of them, it's not really meant to be a visual graphical powerhouse. But nonetheless, the Outer Worlds on Switch is a very, very impressive feat for Obsidian Entertainment to bring out. Another game that came out last week that I was looking forward to for months was the Command & Conquer Remastered Collection. Now, it's when you say collection, I think of multiple games, and while there are multiple games in here, technically, there are two core games in the Command & Conquer series that are in this bundle. But where the collection aspect comes out of it is it's not only just those two core games, it's both those games as expansion packs that are also in this collection. So that gives you a grand total of about 5 games to choose from. And the games were Command & Conquer Tiberian Dawn, which is the first Command & Conquer game, and Command & Conquer Red Alert. And both of those games' expansion packs are also included. I can't remember what Command & Conquer's expansion was called, but I do know that I think Red Alert's was called Retaliation and Aftermath. I think I'm probably wrong, but I do think that Red Alert's expansion of Aftermath is at least on it. I'm not sure about Retaliation, because I think Retaliation might have been a PlayStation only expansion. Now, I'm not quite sure on what Retaliation is. Alright, never mind. Now I know what Retaliation is. Retaliation is basically the 2 expansions for Red Alert in one package made for the PS1. So basically, yeah, I am correct. It does come with Retaliation, but the collection comes with Counter-Strike and Aftermath bundled together. Okay, that alleviates the confusion there. So that's the latest game releases that I particularly took notice of. Future game releases that I'm most anticipating are obviously The Last of Us Part 2. I cannot wait for that game. Really cannot wait for it. Other games that are interesting me a bit as Desperados 3. Now, it does interest me, but at the same time, I haven't really played the original Desperados or Desperados 2. In fact, I think the first time I played Desperados 1 was when the game came free with a cereal box. Do you remember that? Do you remember you could get free stuff with cereal boxes, and some of them were actual gold pieces of items. Like, some of them were fantastic, including DVDs and CDs and music CDs and all that. I got Desperados free with a box of cornflakes, I think, and that was my first entry into the series, believe it or not. But I do like games like that. I just never got around to actually sitting down and playing one. But other future games coming out this month are Pokemon Sword and Shield Isle of Armor, which I believe is the first piece of DLC to come out for Pokemon Sword and Shield. And what it basically is it allows... Personally, I don't really agree with it. I think it should have been there from the beginning, but then again, who am I? At the very least, it's coming out. Returning Pokemon are coming into the game, and there's new story adventures being put into the game as well. I don't know how much it costs. I think it costs about $20, €20. I can't remember, but it's coming out on June the 17th. So if I'm not distracted by another game that's coming out a couple of days after that, then maybe I'll get it. But another game that's coming out in 2 weeks is obviously The Last of Us 2. I'm really looking forward to that. Burnout Paradise Remastered is now getting ported to the Switch, which is not nearly as impressive as The Outer Worlds, as Burnout Paradise came out in 2009. So it wouldn't be that difficult to get a game like that on the Switch and have it run well. And running well is the next challenge, I guess, because that game runs at full 60 frames per second, and if that game's frame rate drops in any way, I'll be surprised. But other games coming out this month are Blair Witch on the Switch, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, that was a mouthful. Hunting Simulator 2 is coming out on the 30th of June. And then I think Death Stranding's coming out on July the 14th, but I'll talk about that some other time. So yeah, a good few Switch games are coming out, mostly ports of other games, or mostly ports from other consoles. So that's the game releases section, and now let's talk about the latest gaming issues. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this because I don't know enough about this guy to warrant an opinion, but I think I only have to look at this one particular problem to understand that this guy is a very nasty piece of work, and I don't agree with his methods lately. If you don't know, the gaming community found out about this. Now, there's this website called oneangrygamer.net, and from the looks of it, the website gives you gaming news without all the bullshit. And that's fine. I mean, I agree with that. That's a good way to promote your product. Do what other gaming outlets don't have the balls to do. Talk about things that no one else has the balls to talk about. But at the same time, the guy that runs it has recently brought himself into a lot of controversy lately. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about real issues going on in the world, and I don't want to, but I'm only going to mention it this once because it bleeds into this guy's actions lately. Now, if, as many of you are aware, there are plenty of riots happening in America, which are horrible. Looting, protests, some of it bad, most of it in good intentions. You know, we all know what happened to George Floyd a couple of weeks ago, with the corrupt police situation over there, with the racism and all of that. There's a lot of looting going on. I don't agree with looting. If you're going to protest, do it in a safe way. Do it in a way that doesn't hurt anyone. You have the right to protest. Utilise that right. Stop committing crimes to get your point across. We understand you're in pain. We understand that you're frustrated with your government. We understand you're frustrated with your police force. but do it in a way that's safe for everyone. Stop ruining other people's livelihoods to get your point across. It's not the shop owner's fault. It's not their fault that you're feeling this way. You don't need to take it out on them. We understand you're angry, but please protest in a manner that's safe, and then no harm will come to you. I know there have been plenty of cases where people have been peacefully protesting and the police have unlawfully utilised their force in the wrong possible way to stop these peaceful protests. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't agree with it. But keep doing what you're doing, get the point across, but stop looting. Now, this brings me to my point about the one angry gamer. He has made a list, and this list is... I'm probably taking this more to heart than I should, and I was going to make a rant video about this, but I feel like it should just stay contained within this video. What he has done is he has created a list, and this list it's crazy. It's 568 company names strong and 383 individuals strong, names of people. So that's a grand total of about 600, oh no, sorry, more than that. About almost 1,000 names, like 700 odd people. 700 people and 700 organisations all in this list. And this list is comprised of people who have allegedly been labelled traitors to the United States of America. And I wasn't going to give this guy traffic, but for fuck's sake, if I'm not going to be much of a difference maker when it comes to looking. I'm on his website. I probably shouldn't have clicked into it because now I'm part of the problem of giving him attention. But sure, everyone else is giving him fucking attention, but as much negative attention as possible, the better. But he made this list that says, and I quote, "A number of individuals, companies, outlets and media institutions have stepped forward to announce that they support the groups enabling riots, violence, vandalism, theft, assault and murder taking place at the hand of vandals and thugs across the United States of America. Anyone looking to find out which companies, brands and content creators have betrayed the trust of the American people by aligning with the groups that support the deconstruction of Western values, this list will enlighten you as to who the traitors are so you can stay informed." And then he furthered this by saying, "Some of the people, brands and companies on this list are not headquartered in America. However, they still cater to and influence the American consumer audience. And in light of their influence to help sway the views of American citizens, they have been added to the list." And it's hard... Now, reading it like that sounds one-sided. It sounds like he's doing something right. But what he's actually doing is anyone who puts up the hashtag Black Lives Matter or puts a black screen on their page, those are the people he's putting on the list. He thinks that by saying Black Lives Matter, it means that you agree with the riots, the vandals, the violence, the assault and the murder, the criminals that are coming out of all this. He thinks that we're abiding to them, that we agree with those people by saying Black Lives Matter. He thinks that's what Black Lives Matter means. Truth be told, and believe it or not, pal, it's not what Black Lives Matter means. Black Lives Matter is the call to alleviate and eliminate violence and unlawful treatment of African American citizens in the United States. Black people are still being oppressed in this day and age, and it shouldn't happen. And there's so many evidence to back all of that up. I'm a nobody on the internet, and you're putting people's names on that list that don't deserve to be on that list. I think the list is a load of nonsense. I think it's a lot of rubbish, and I don't know if I'm right in thinking this, but I think this is defamation and slander to attack all of these companies and publicly shame them for being traitors to America. I mean, some of these companies are not even American. Now, I know you pointed that out, but then they're not traitors to America because they're not of America. They're not American in any way. So what you're doing there is you're not only falsely accusing these people of favouring riots and violence, because we don't. We actively disagree with these. But you're also making it quite obvious that you think that the most important country in the world is America. Now, I'm not about to get into this America versus the world nonsense. I think that's a lot of crap. But what I'm saying is you can't just sit there and think that everyone is influenced by America and that whenever someone says something bad, it means that we're against America and America is the most important country in the world. Truth be told, pal, we're not the most important country in the world. Half of your country was discovered by immigrants, which is ironic. It's so fucking ironic that do you know what I mean? Your country was founded by immigrants. Your country was founded by non-Americans. You know, America is a country of immigrants, whether you like it or not. Do you know, you think that I'm going off I'm kind of waffling on, I'm going off topic a little bit, but it's ironic that you say that, and then when we think that what is happening is wrong, you think that we are proposing we like the opposite. You think that we are enjoying these riots, this violence and all this stuff. It's wrong. We don't agree with that. We think it's wrong. We don't agree about the violence and the riots and all that. We believe in peaceful protesting, and that's what Black Lives Matter is about, and it's what it's supposed to be about. The problem that Americans are having right now is that they can't even peacefully protest because they're being attacked by police for breaking a curfew 30 seconds after the curfew has went into effect. It's like, is the curfew really 8 p.m. or is it 7:45? Because at 8 p.m, that's when people are allowed to disperse, and the police force are not letting them disperse. They are kettling them and surrounding them in squares of streets, which is against the law in a lot of countries. You can't do that. That's unlawful. It's against the law in a lot of countries, and it's not befitting of an officer you're supposed to be protected by. And it's the peaceful protesters we're on the side of. We're not on the side of the violent part. So why are you sitting there accusing people of saying Black Lives Matter as being traitors to America? You're defaming a lot of companies here, 500 companies strong, a lot of companies that aren't even American. I mean, for God's sake, you attacked. I mean, at what point are you going to attack all of these people for being traitors? There is irony in there somewhere. Because I guarantee that one of the companies that you have labelled a traitor, you are using one of their products. I guarantee it. Out of all of those companies, you are definitely using one of those. Because at what point are you going to have every single company in the world listed? When is it going to sink in? You know, I think all of these companies and all of these people, as well as the people that you've yet to list, I think if all of those people have the same mindset and you don't, I think you're the one that's wrong. Because some of these people don't even deserve to be. Some of these people are seemingly the nicest people in the world. and you've labelled them traitors. You're gaslighting everyone. So you're taking all of these people's opinions and you're twisting them. You know, I mean, all these names that you've listed, including Jacksepticeye, you didn't even know who he was when you put him on the list. Because if I remember correctly, a Northern Irish person came onto your Twitter account and says, put me on the list for a laugh. And you responded and you said, no, the Irish are okay, except for that septic guy. You couldn't even name him. You couldn't even get his name down. You couldn't get his name down. You couldn't even get his handle down. You had to call him that septic guy, which means you have no idea who he is. And another YouTube personality that is pretty famous around YouTube, but mostly famous around the UK and Ireland, is Cadicarus, Jim Caddick. You falsely accused him of being a traitor to America, and you even labelled him as a streamer. Someone asked you if you've even seen any of his content, and you said no. So you're not even going to listen to people. You're not even going to hear them. You're just going to see the Black Lives Matter thing, and you're just going to automatically assume that they're traitors to America. How about fuck off? You know, it's also quite rich coming from you. All of these people are proud of the effort they're making to make everyone aware of this. A lot of people are happy that this is getting more attention than it should, because it bloody well should be getting so much attention. This is the time to stop racism. You know, I mean, you're just as bad as the people that contradict the Black Lives Matter thing in favour of All Lives Matter, because those people are missing the point as well. Of course all lives matter. Absolutely. Nobody should be getting oppressed. Not one single race should be getting oppressed. Not one sexuality should be getting oppressed. No gender should be oppressed. Everyone has the right to be nice to everyone, and everyone has the right to have people be nice to them. You know, there should be no animosity of any kind in terms of what you look like, what you believe in, what you sound like, and what you act like, and what you do. Unless you are someone that commits war crimes or commits crimes of any kind, nobody should be attacking you for anything, and you shouldn't be attacking anyone for anything. We are all in this together. We are all in this to make the best of everything. We want everyone to get on. We don't want people getting racially profiled. We don't want people getting attacked. You know, nobody should be getting attacked for anything. Racism is not something you're born with. It's a learned behaviour. And what you're doing is, ironically, racist. It's white supremacy at its finest. You want to shut people up for saying Black Lives Matter to further your agenda that people are betraying America. But they're not. Everyone has... Like, are you honestly trying to say that there's some conspiracy behind this? Why is it every time something happens in the world, it can't just happen and that be it? There's got to be a conspiracy. There's got to be an underlying reason as to why everything happens. Nothing can just happen. What do you do when you get up out of bed? Why can't everyone think that everything you do is a fucking conspiracy? And when I say this, I mean to say, when you go to the shop and you buy a fucking video game or a DVD, you go home and you decide to watch it. What if there's a conspiracy into why you're picking the film you're watching? You know what I mean? You think that sounds ridiculous, don't you? You think that sounds ridiculous because why would... I mean, yeah. Why would there be a conspiracy over what you do in your own life? And it's the same fucking attitude as to why you think there's a conspiracy when something public happens. You think there's a conspiracy around the whole Black Lives Matter hashtag. There is no conspiracy. It is what it is. And what it is people think that there is an injustice done to African Americans and black people around the world. You know what? You're the racist one. Because nobody is out to attack black people. You are. You know, like, we are using the hashtag Black Lives Matter because we don't think not all lives matter. We do think all lives matter. But at this very moment in time, black lives really matter. Because you're, from the sound of things, you're a straight white male. The most privileged race in humanity. The most privileged person in humanity. You've got no problems. You don't know what oppression is. You don't know what it's like to be mistreated. You don't know what it's like to be labelled. Because you're not oppressed. You're a straight white male. I'm a straight white male. I don't know what it's like to be oppressed. I don't know what it's like to be mistreated by a mass of people. So I have no right to sit there and say that I know what it feels like. And neither do you. And you equally don't have a right to sit there and say that people using the hashtag Black Lives Matter are traitors to America, because we're not. And I think it's disgusting that you think this. It's absolutely disgusting. Because these people, these companies are doing everything that's right to stop racism. We are doing this with our best intentions. Stop twisting it. You know, you've put Apple on that list. Haven't you? Yes. What brand of phone are you using? Do you know what I mean? If you're not using an Apple phone, maybe you're using a Samsung phone, which is quite funny because Samsung are not on your list. But what if they say Black Lives Matter? In fact, let's go on to Samsung's webpage right now. Or their Twitter account, should I say. Samsung US. Okay, Samsung US haven't wrote anything. What about Samsung Mobile? Also haven't wrote anything. Samsung Electronics. Also haven't wrote anything. So the reason you haven't put Samsung up there is because they haven't said Black Lives Matter yet. But should they post that, are you going to put them on the list? You probably will. But what kind of phone are you carrying? If you're carrying a Samsung and Samsung say Black Lives Matter and you put them on the list, you're a hypocrite. If you own a video games console, which you probably do considering you're a video game journalist, allegedly, if Sony are on your list, do you have a PS4 or a PlayStation system? Because if you do, you're a hypocrite. Microsoft are not on your list yet. But if they post Black Lives Matter, if you're using a Windows PC, are you going to put them on your list? Because if you do, you're a hypocrite. And this will keep going and going and going until every single country in the world is on your list. And when every single country in the world is on your list, you're a massive hypocrite. You've put a load of major companies on this list, and I guarantee you're using at least 5 of them. What kind of shoes do you buy? Do you buy Adidas? Because if you do, you're a hypocrite, because Adidas is on your list. What do you use to make your pictures or your images, your designs? You've got people to do that, but what are they using? Photoshop? Because if they are, and they're on your list, you're a hypocrite. GameStop. You've put them on the list. But where did you buy your games from? Okay, if you didn't buy them from GameStop, fair enough. But what about other outlets? You've put Tesco on the list. Tesco! A company that you have no affiliation with. A company that doesn't even operate in America. Tesco does not have any stakes in America. They don't have a branch in America. Yet you've put them on the list. You know, they take nothing to do with America in any way. Yet you put them on the list. In fact, according to your list, you've put them on probation. Why? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. They wrote Blackout Tuesday, and that was your reason for putting them on probation. You've put Uber on your list. How do you get about? How do a lot of Americans get about without driving these days, apart from walking? Taxi? Doubt it. Most of them get an Uber. And you definitely get an Uber. So you putting on them on your list is definitely a hypocrisy. This is total slander and defamation. It's slander on the companies and defamation of the people you've put on this list. I mean, I'm still annoyed at the whole Jim Caddick thing and Jacksepticeye. These people do a lot for charity. These people are family people. You know, they you don't even know who they are. You can't just swing in and just grab people's names and say, yeah, you're on the list. You're a fucking arsehole. You're an absolute arsehole. A total cunt. And I hate using that word. But you are a total and utter cunt. You're a prick. You have no respect for anyone. And you know what's funny? You hide behind this. You're anonymous. Nobody knows what your fucking face looks like. You're a coward. You're an absolute fucking definition of a keyboard warrior. Fucking keyboard gangster sitting there. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. Nobody can fucking find out what I look like. But we all know your fucking name, pal. Your name is William, isn't it? William something. Let's find out. William Usher. Or sorry, William Billy D. Usher. That's your name. You are a fucking coward. You have no respect for yourself and you've no respect for anyone. You have got some fucking nerve attacking random people just because they believe that racism should stop. You can't just come out of nowhere and say that we're being racist because you have a stupid agenda, because you have a stupid opinion. You are not the centre of the world, mate. And once this is all out, once this is all blown over, and it will blow over, hopefully for the better, you're going to ignore this list. You're going to take it down, and it's going to be like it never happened. You're going to go back to using half the fucking products belonging to the companies that you've put on that list. You think you're important. You think you deserve everyone's fucking attention. Well, you've got a lot of people's attention, mate, but for the wrong fucking reasons. And for the record, your website is very amateurly done. Now, I've given you the attention that you probably craved, and if you see it, I hope you enjoy it. But I'm pretty sure I speak for a lot of people when I say that you're nothing but a complete, total, self-centred, ignorant scumbag. And I hope to fucking Christ your brand, your website, your business goes under. Because you're on my list. You're on my list of racists. You're on my list of general scumbags. You're a man-child that has no respect for anyone. You don't even have any respect for yourself. You are a total and utter scumbag that doesn't deserve a thing in this world right now, because all you care about doing is defaming and slandering other companies, which is quite, I think it's against the law in some countries, believe it or not. What you're doing is slanderous. Now, I've given you your attention. kindly fuck off and don't come back. Nobody cares about you. And if you say you cared enough to comment, yeah, I did care enough to comment. That's as far as it goes. You're a troll. And I fucking regret feeding you. But I've gone on long enough. Now, let's get on to something else. Latest gaming news is the PlayStation 5's reveal leak, which just came in about a couple of hours ago. And it has now been officially confirmed as of 15 minutes ago. Strange, I started this about 40 minutes ago and it just happened right now. So, basically, PlayStation announced that their PlayStation 5 reveal will happen on Thursday, June the 11th at 1 PM Pacific time, which is 9 PM where I'm sitting right now in Ireland. So that'll be exciting. I don't even know if it's the console itself. I think it's just the games. And if it's just the games, it's probably just going to be a bunch of trailers of games that we already know about. You know, games that were announced last year. But anyway, that's that. So let's, I'm not going to talk too much about my latest episode of GB Reviews, which was my review of The Last of Us. But yeah, do you know what? I'm not going to talk about it because I've already explained it. But it basically, my reason for doing the review came out of general interest of going back to doing my reviews again, and the fact that The Last of Us 2 is coming out in just under 2 weeks, and I felt it relevant to talk about The Last of Us, and I had just beaten it, and it was very much topical in my brain, so I said, why not review it? Plus I got my equipment back anyway, and I felt really in the mood to do it. So let's get into what I've been playing lately. I've been playing a number of games over the last couple of weeks, but over the last week I've been playing, well, every single day since its release I've been playing Animal Crossing. Basically the reason why is because if I don't play it, or if I stop playing it, all my flowers will go dead, all my plants will die, and I'll have to go back and clean up all the fucking weeds, which is a pain in the arse in of itself. I'm not losing interest in the game, but I am starting to get a little bit worn out by it. Every single week, every single Sunday, you have the ability to buy turnips, and if you've not played Animal Crossing, you can skip ahead, but basically the turnips is something that you can buy every Sunday morning, and you can sell them. It's kind of like their version of the stock market, and that's kind of what they call it. They call it stock market, but spell it differently, like stock, as in the plant, stock of a plant. And you basically buy them low and sell them high. That's what you do throughout the week. And this week I bought a lot, a couple of millions worth of bells worth of turnips, and I tried to sell them all over the week, but it took too long. Going into someone else's island is a very long and drawn out process, because especially if the person is selling turnips or buying turnips for a high price, it becomes a very popular and overcrowded place for people to go. And going there, you've got to wait on people. If someone is arriving in the island, you've got to wait on a loading screen for them to arrive on the island, and likewise when they're leaving. And when multiple people are leaving and multiple people are arriving, that makes for a very long and drawn out process that I have little patience for. I hate loading screens in games. I hate waiting on them. I have no patience for that. So when I'm sitting there, I've arrived at someone's island, it should take me 3 minutes to get in the island, sell the turnips and leave. But what turns from 3 minutes into 20 minutes because people keep leaving. And it got to a point where I was getting so sick of it that I think the straw that broke the camel's back was when I was actually at the airport in the game, and I was in the procedure of trying to leave. And when I got into the menu saying I wish to leave, the game interrupted me from doing that and says, please close the window you are on. Someone wants to arrive. And I was thinking, no fucking way am I going to sit there and close this window so that I can wait another 2 minutes, 120 seconds for someone else to come into the island, for me to just try and go into it again, for it to tell me that someone's leaving, that I have to leave the menu again. So I didn't leave the menu. I stayed on it and I waited, and I just kept pressing leave now, leave now, leave now. Eventually it worked, but that wasn't worth it. The remaining turnips I had left, I just left them rot. I made enough money in the game, and the following morning was a Sunday, and I didn't buy any turnips. I refuse to buy them now for the foreseeable future, because I've no interest in playing the game as long as I did the first couple of weeks. I've got a Let's Play series that is currently going up right now. Those videos are about a month and a half behind. I'm going to spoil the ending of those videos. Basically what I did was I recorded the game right up until the end credits, and then after that I stopped recording. I've been playing it since, but I haven't been recording anything because I've just no desire to keep playing that game for as long as I've been playing it. I've got 140 hours logged into that game, but I'd say half of that, or at least a third of that, is from me just keeping the game sitting there paused, or just me standing there idle. But that's what I've been playing this week. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, reluctantly. But I've also been playing Grand Theft Auto 3 on PC lately as well. I don't know where that idea came from. I think I was just browsing my Steam library and I seen Grand Theft Auto 3, and I just decided to see what mods I could put on it. Specifically graphical mods, mods just to make the game look better and perform better. So I tried to look for some, and I found one that allows you to improve the game. It's called Grand Theft Auto 3 Improved, and there's versions for it for that, there's versions for Vice City, and there's versions for San Andreas, and there's versions for Grand Theft Auto 4. I downloaded all three versions for GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas respectively, and I installed it onto GTA 3, and what it does is that it takes all the bugs that are in GTA 3 and completely eliminates any. It makes the game true widescreen, like true 1080p widescreen. It removes all stretching on the HUD and makes them clean, much cleaner. It allows you to play with a gamepad. Now, I know you can already play with a gamepad, but you're very limited in the control you have. What this mod does is it allows you to play a certain way. It reconfigures the gamepad to play as if you're playing on San Andreas. And what I mean by that is San Andreas allows you to play with full controller support. It allows you to play with dual analogs, right trigger to drive, left trigger, and they're all analog triggers. It allows you to do all of that, and that's the control setup that is now on my Grand Theft Auto 3 copy. And it just makes the game so much more fun to play. It allows me to play the game I've always wanted to play it with all the graphical improvements. I don't like playing games like that with the mouse and keyboard. I've tried it. It has been fun, but my fingers cramp up when I play keyboard and mouse controls. So the only time I really use the keyboard and mouse is when I'm playing strategy games or games that really do require it. Point and click games. Those make sense. But actually using a keyboard to control video games is very awkward to do for me. My left hand cramps up and it hurts. So yeah, playing that. I've also been playing Command & Conquer Remastered. That's been a lot of fun. Very difficult. Some of the mechanics haven't aged well. The pathfinding is very hit and miss. If you click on your soldiers to go a certain area, they don't really take the best path. They just run into enemies. You can't set rally points for your barracks. You basically just have to let them come out of the barracks naturally, and you have to drag them to somewhere yourself. And then there's also no attack move option. Now, all of those things I mentioned were never in the original game, so it makes sense that they wouldn't be in this version. But I wouldn't have played the original versions of those games back before this remastered collection came out, because they haven't aged well mechanically. And I got the remastered collection purely out of the fact that I just wanted to see how the games looked and how the games played. And for the most part, they play well. It's just there's a lot of mechanics in that game that hasn't aged well. And if they're able to program it in, I wouldn't say no to the idea. But if they can't program in, I understand, because they're using the original game's code. To completely change all that would be to completely change up the way the game plays and the way the game's supposed to be played. So I understand why it's not there, but I wouldn't say no if they decided to change it up a bit and put those mechanics in. But regardless, the games are very enjoyable. I'm enjoying them a hell of a lot. I also played The Last of Us last week. I beat it in 3 days. That was really fun to prepare myself for The Last of Us Part 2, which is coming out in just under 2 weeks, like I said. I did a review on it out of the blue a week later, so that was fun. Yeah, I haven't really played much else. I've kind of been jumping on and off different games over the course of the last few weeks, not really sticking to the one game. I mean, I started the original God of War on PS3 there a couple of days ago, and I just played 10 minutes of the first level. I says, you know what, I'm not ready to sit down and play this yet, because then if I play God of War 1, I've got to play God of War 2, and then when I play God of War 2, I've got to go back and play the prequel games. I've got to play them, I've got to play God of War 3, and so on and so forth, until I've got to go play through the whole entirety of the remake or the reboot of the new God of War game that came out on PS4. So that's like, because when I play certain franchises, I've got to play them from the start, no matter what it is. Grand Theft Auto being the exception, because those games are self-contained stories. You can play them in any order you want. Doesn't matter. That's pretty much it. I ordered more games online. I've been buying games from overseas lately. Being a PAL native is very frustrating when you are someone that plays retro games and old games in a PAL region, because the games are not optimised well over here. They run at 50Hz, not 60Hz, and thus there's a lot more stuttering in the movement in some of those games. So getting the 60Hz games is the most ideal way to play those games. But living where I am, it's frustrating to bring those games over from overseas, especially with COVID-19 intact, because delays are happening with loads of different outlets and loads of different postal services. And what that means is that normally it takes about a month and a half for a game to come from America or Japan to my address. And with the delays in postal services, that turned 1.5 months to 3 months, and it was a long wait. And I haven't imported a game since I realised this, but I'm still waiting on games that I ordered at the end of February and the middle of March to come to my door. They have started arriving this week. In fact, they started arriving last week. Games that I ordered in March, they're starting to arrive now. Thank God. Some of the games I ordered were mostly Dynasty Warriors games. I'm trying to collect all of those games. So far, I have been successful in collecting every single main entry in the Dynasty Warriors franchise, from Dynasty Warriors 1 right through to Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends, right through to Dynasty Warriors 9 actually, and all the Extreme Legends expansions and all the Empires expansions. I've got all of them. One more game is due to arrive at my door, and it's a game I already have digitally and I technically already have on PS3, and that's Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition. That's the final physical copy of that game that I need, and it's on its way. I just ordered it about an hour ago, so I'm really happy about that. That should be here at the end of the week, because I'm buying it from the same country I live in, thank God. I don't need to buy the European or American version of that or Japanese version, because games nowadays run at 60Hz the way they're supposed to be run worldwide, and that's a godsend, thank God. Other games I've ordered have been random PS1 games. I'm starting to rebuild my PS1 collection. And what I mean by that is I'm importing Japanese and American copies, mostly American. But I think I've got more. I think the amount of American copies of games are equivalent to the amount of Japanese copies I've got. Now, sorry, I've got heartburn. Now, I started buying Japanese PS1 games out of the novelty of the fact that I just wanted to own Japanese copies of those games. I started really appreciating Japanese versions of retro games, especially Sega Mega Drive games, and then I bled over to PlayStation 1 games. Purely out of aesthetics. I don't know, I've no interest in playing some of them. I mean, I got the Japanese versions of Tekken 1, 2 and 3 a couple of years ago, and I beat them back to back. I unlocked every character on every single one of those 3 games, and it was really fun. There is no language barrier in that game, because they're all in English anyway, even if they are Japanese. Thank God as well. I got 2 copies of Metal Gear Solid 1, one of them being the integral copy, because not only is it playable in Japanese, but you can play it in English as well, with English subtitles and English voice acting. No, I think it's Japanese subtitles and English voice acting. I'm probably wrong about that, but basically what it is the international version. It allows you to play it in English and not worry about any language barriers. I've got 2 copies of that, one being that and one being the Japanese version. I've bought loads of other games from America. I bought NBA Street Volume 3. I bought Ready to Rumble Boxing. I bought Ready to Rumble Round 2. I bought Final Fantasy Tactics. So many games. I've bought NFL Blitz 2000 purely out of nostalgia, because I used to play that game a lot when I was 12, 13 years old. My auntie has it. But I haven't seen her. I haven't lived in Scotland since 2004, so I've missed out on those games that she owned. So I haven't gotten to play those games in a long time. So I'm starting to re-buy those games, and they're absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So basically, all I've been doing is playing random games and building up a collection of retro games. I'm still trying to do that. Yep. That's really what I've been doing gaming wise. Now on to the topic of the show. I know it took an hour to get here. My jaw is actually starting to kill me. I don't know how anyone does this on a daily basis. But anyway, the topic of the show is why I'm not interested in being paid to do my YouTube videos. And simple answer is, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy doing the hobby. I enjoy making content. I enjoy creating content. I enjoy writing scripts. I enjoy reading those scripts on the microphone. I enjoy editing all of that together with video footage of my games. And I just enjoy posting them up for other people to see. When I first started doing YouTube videos, I did it for the same reasons I do it now. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's a great way to spend time for me. It's one of my favourite hobbies. I enjoy, without actually making movies, I enjoy movie making. I enjoy creating stuff. I'm very creative that way. I like creating media. You know, I mean, I don't only have a YouTube channel where I make game reviews. I have a Twitch channel where I make random gameplay videos for no other reason than I just enjoy it. It's fun to me. I enjoy taking screenshots. I enjoy sharing screenshots. I enjoy making... I enjoy collecting things. I enjoy creating content. I enjoy building. I even make my own music. I haven't done it in a long time, but I really enjoyed it for a time. I have my own SoundCloud account. I have my own SoundCloud page. All my music is there. It's called Solid Underground. You can find it easily. Just type in SoundCloud Solid Underground and it's there. In fact, this podcast is probably going to be on SoundCloud. So if you're already on SoundCloud, check my friends list on this account. I'm probably going to make this account separate to my music account. But anyway, that's what that is. You know, the reason why I'm bringing this up as a topic is because when I was in college, one of my colleagues, one of my classmates asked me, I think I was talking about YouTube and the fact that I have my own YouTube account, and she asked me, how much do you get paid? That was the first question she asked me, was how much do you get paid? And I was taken aback by it because I thought to myself, that's not why I do it. That's not what I do. I don't want it as a career. I don't want to do it as a career. I don't want to get paid to do it. I said to her, I says, how much I get paid? I get paid about 5 cents a month. And that is honestly what I used to get paid for my YouTube content. I got about 5 cents a month. And that's American cents. So that's about 2 cents over here. 3 cents. And she seemed taken aback by that. She found it funny. She found it funny that I only got a measly 5 cents every 2 months. And I'm not saying her interest was there, but if she had any interest, it was definitely ripped away when I told her that I didn't get paid to do my videos. And that brought me down to a level where I thought, is that what people think of YouTubers these days? Is that what matters? Is that why people make content these days? Is that why a lot of famous YouTubers don't really put much effort into their content and still get millions and millions of dollars for it? Because that's marketable to them. That's sustainable to them. That's what they want to do with their lives. Is just to go around vlogging nonsense and get paid for it. That's not a job. That's not work. That's not something personally to be proud of. But I have to ask people like, I hate to say his name, but the likes of Jake Paul and Tom Syndicate, and I hate those two guys. Not because of, I don't like Jake Paul for obvious reasons. Nobody likes him. But I don't like Tom Syndicate because even though he did have a decent YouTube channel where he did loads of gaming videos, he also made a separate channel specifically just for vlogging. And a family member of mine used to watch his videos religiously, and I used to just hate seeing his face on that 40-inch TV. Like, you know, I would often go to bed before him. Like, we used to share a room, and I would often go to bed before him, and he used to just stay up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just having this guy in the background with the brightness all the way up, and I would just turn around and I would just see what it is he's looking at, and it's like this guy walking around showing off his car, showing off his house, going on boat trips and showing off his boats, and it's almost like home movies, but he's being paid to do them. And that frustrated me. It's like, you're getting paid to do home movies. That's fucking infuriating. It probably does come from a place of jealousy, because it's like, and it comes from a place of jealousy in a way that I don't want to do what he's doing. I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing. I'm proud of that. I like my job, my actual job that I do on a daily basis. Well, I should be doing on a daily basis. If it wasn't for COVID-19, I'd still be in work. I want to keep my YouTube as far away from my job as possible. I want to work for my money. I want to earn it. I want to go home and say, that was a hard week's work. Here's your money for doing all of that. Congratulations. You can pay your bills. You can buy food. You can sit comfortably knowing that you earned that. And it feels good to earn money. It does feel good. It feels absolutely amazing to do a week's work, and in the following week, there's money in your bank account for doing a good week's work. Well done. Pat yourself on the back. That feels fucking good to me. Do you know? And the YouTube part is also a reward. It's You've did all of this during the week for us. Now here's money. Go and spend it on whatever you want after you've spent it on the things you need. Spend it on the things you want. Buy those things and use those things and utilise them at home. And enjoy them. The microphone I've got, I bought with my own money that I earned. The games that I have that I'm collecting, I bought with my own wage. My Xbox One, my PS4. Well, okay, the Xbox One was a present, but the PS4 bought with my own money. Do you know? Everything I buy is with my own earned money. Now, put someone like me, a normal working class citizen, and compare that to someone like Jake Paul, to someone like Tom Syndicate, who profits, or seemingly profits, off of doing nothing but recording his own house. How in the hell can he look at his bank account a week later and think, I earned that? That's me for the week. How can YouTube pay that person and say, well done for a week's worth of hard work? Here is your paycheck. That doesn't seem right to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against getting paid on YouTube. You know, there are people out there who do like to do it as a job, because if it's something you love, it shouldn't be work, right? But the contrary to that is I've seen famous YouTubers who do make content who grow to hate it, who grow to resent it, who get mentally drained, who go down into a slump and get depressed over trying to keep up and keep their followers happy. Because they not only need to keep their followers happy, but they need to keep themselves happy. And what I mean by that is they need to keep themselves financially stable. And to keep yourself financially stable, you've got a quota to fill. You've got an objective to fill out. You know, you've got a target. You've got a mission. And you've got to abide by that. You've got to work on that. You've got to make sure that the money you earn is sustainable. And you've got to do that by constantly sitting at your computer and just regurgitating as much content as possible. You've got to sit up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning, making sure that everything is perfect, that the content you bring out is going to attract people to that content. You've got to make sure that you have no ill will from anyone when you create that content. You've got to make sure that it is consistent. And that doesn't sound like fun to me. That sounds like work. And I would rather do that as a free hobby for me to do whenever I like and not worry about who watches it and how much I might get and might not get. That doesn't sound like fun to me. That sounds like stress. And it's one of the many major reasons why I'm not interested in being paid on YouTube. The day that I found out that my channel was no longer going to be monetized, because they changed the way you get monetized, and the way you now get monetized is if you earn so many thousand views in the space of 12 months and so many hundreds or thousands subscribers in the space of 12 months. And not only that, those views have got to be consistent. That's going to generate income if you do that. That was a godsend to me to have that news, to have that email sent to me. Because now I can create whatever the hell I want and not worry about getting people's negative attention because the content I create is not monetizable. You can't make money off of me because I'm not creating content that can make money. And that is brilliant to me because I don't want to do that. Because even though I only get about 20 views in a couple of months, if anything, even though most of my Let's Play videos gets like 1 view a year, even though I get little to no conversation out of it, no matter what my reach is, no matter what my audience is, no matter what tags I put in the end of my videos, it doesn't matter. Because I'm happy with the video. And so long as I'm happy, I will continue to make those videos. Money or otherwise. You know? A lot of people say that the audience is the most important part of their videos. You know? The fans. And it's true. My fans are the most important part of my videos. And my biggest fan is me. My biggest supporter of my videos is me. And if I can keep my supporters happy, if I can keep my audience happy, if I can keep me happy, then I will continue to make those videos. I always welcome feedback if I get any, because I could do with feedback. But if I don't get feedback, I'll continue to do what I'm doing in the manner that I do it. Thankfully, I do have a bit of a short attention span, and I like to change things up a bit. But I have no problem making my content for forever and not getting paid for it forever. You know? If I was to get paid for it, I wouldn't care to keep it consistent. You know? I would still be happy going out and doing my day job, coming home and doing this in my free time. Because that's what I want. I want free time to do my videos. I want as much time in the world to do my videos. I want to create the content I want to create and not have to worry about YouTube's algorithm on what people should be creating. You know, I've seen people making thumbnails and they're all the same. All the thumbnails that you see on YouTube are mostly of people looking shocked at something with a colourful outline around the person and a wacky background image. And their draw to people is, what am I shocked at? What is it I'm looking at? Click in this video to find out. Now, in regards to getting monetization and getting people to watch your videos, that's a good strategy. But the thumbnails are ugly as sin. And it goes to show that you don't care about the content you're making because you're now just doing it for money. And you will make as little effort as possible to make those videos in the most quickest way possible in order to make life much easier for you, but still raking in the amount of money you were raking in when you were actually making an effort. I don't want that. You know? It takes me a few weeks to make one review, usually. Maybe a week, maybe. If I'm really into what I'm doing, it'll take me a couple of days. Sometimes it's taken me a day to make a review. But it all depends on what the game is. If it's a game that I know inside out and happens to be an old, retro, small game, then that's gravy. Like, I can have that video done in a day and have it published the following day, and that's it. My Last of Us review was done in 2 days because I was able to have all of the information of the game in my head because it was fresh. I knew everything about it, and I was able to write that script in the space of 45 minutes and have it recorded in the space for further 20 minutes, maybe an hour because I had to do retakes. And then it took me the rest of the day to do 3/4 of the video and then do the other quarter the following day, and it was uploaded by 6 o'clock that night. That was because I decided to do that when I wanted. I took a 7-month break from my videos because I could. Do you know? If I was getting paid and I needed to keep a sustainable amount of income and I needed to maintain a consistent amount of views, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that because I need to keep my fans happy. I need to keep my income coming in. You know? In a nutshell, the reason I am not interested in being paid on YouTube is because I don't want to have the pressure of being told what to do to keep my audience happy and to keep my income coming in. Because then it's no longer fun, it's work. And I don't want to work at my hobby. I want to enjoy my hobby, and I want to keep enjoying it. I don't want to enjoy it for the first year and then feel drained and sick of it by the second year, and then ultimately just reduce the time I take, or reduce the effort I make to make those videos. I make those videos because I enjoy it. And because I don't get paid, it makes it all the more fun. I want to spend my wages on my hobby. I don't want to spend my hobby on my wages, if that makes any sense. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. And wow, I've been at this for well over an hour. This is something I've never done before. So I will see how I get on with this. It's probably just me waffling on. I suppose that's what a podcast is. I'm not really the type of person to sit and do something like this. At this particular moment, my jaw is cramping up from all the talking I've been doing, and my left tooth is starting to hurt because I keep biting my gum. And it's probably because I've never actually sat and done this much talking. My throat is really getting sore. But this is probably something I need to work on. But despite that, this was actually quite a fun first attempt. And hopefully I can continue to do more if I'm able. If this is something that if this is something that is just going to fall down the drain, then this is probably going to be the only episode that I'll make. But in regards to that, or despite that, thanks very much for listening. This has been Dave talking to you on GB Gaming, where video games come first. If you enjoy this, I suggest you go into my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/gamerboy with an H. I'm pretty sure the video or the channel link is somewhere on this account. This is still brand new to me. And that's it. So thanks again, and I'll see you whenever I see you. Have a good day, and goodbye.